Well, hello, greetings, salutations, blessings to any and all who stop and watch this. I oh, sorry, things going weird with the small computer and Google and Hangouts, but that's all right. It usually happens. Hi there, my name is David Null, and I'm a 65-year-old semi-retired, partially disabled individual. And if you're new to this channel, thank you very much for coming. I'm someone who has been around for quite a long time as far as looking for my spiritual journey. Well, looking for it. And what I mean is that I've been looking for spiritual enlightenment all of my life. I really can't remember when. I wasn't trying to be spiritual. I was raised a Catholic. I had one of my first visions when I was 7 years old, and during First Communion in the Catholic Church in Tampa, Florida. That church is subsequently has been torn down, by the way, which was a shame. But anyway, I'll stay on subject, try to anyway. This is an impromptu kind of broadcast. I didn't really sit down, have notes, and plan this. Sometimes synchronicity is that you just have to do it now and say what's on your mind. And right now, I can't really say that I'm channeling my higher self, but I kind of sort of am. I don't like to use the word channeling. I'm listening to my spirit guide as someone who found out later on in life that I had a substantial Native American background on my father's side. Was adopted, so I didn't know a lot of this stuff until much later in life, and I'm still learning. But suffices to say that my great-grandmother and my grandmother both were Cherokee, or at least there was, it might have been my grandmother who was half Cherokee, or, mixed. Anyway, but to the point, though, rather than having no Native American blood in me. So when I found this out later on in life, it made sense, all the things that happened to me in my younger life, why I like the outdoors, why I was so comfortable with things. I would sit quietly and literally have animals walk up to me and, out in the woods. Even as a child growing up in Tampa, I would go down in the woods and sit and pray. I didn't know it then, but what I was doing was meditating and praying. So, I've had all types of things happen to me in my lifetime. And during these conversations, one or two of these things might pop up. I might repeat a story that I've said in a previous video, but having short-term memory loss and so many brain issues over the years, many of which were not self-inflicted. They were other reasons. My other videos, I go into some of that. This now, however, is what's going on currently in Galactic. I keep my ear out to all the sub-channels, if you will. Channels are like, most folks are like, oh man, I need 2 tinfoil hats to go to that website and listen to what that person has to say. Now, with that said, I have recently observed, especially like these last 2 months, it started about the middle of last year, which is kind of interesting. That was also the time when we had the solar eclipse come across the United States. Interesting. It's also when some other earth changes were going on, and we were just starting to get into this new swing of things, if you will. And Oh, I see. Never mind. Something popped up and it deflected my attention. Sorry about that. So I have been instructed by my spirit guide to speak out about this particular subject. Now, the subject is this. I've been following a lot of different people over the last, I don't know, since 2005, more heavily about 2009, and more heavily these last 3 years. So I'll go to someone's site and, on YouTube, they'll have oh, what about this person, this person, this person? So I'll go to that site and check what they've got to say. And if it's anywhere near what information I think I should review, I subscribe to the channel. So if you want to know what I know, my suggestion is that you go into my YouTube and go into my Lite videos, which are thousands, and go through there and check out some of the people that I have listened to, observed, or whatever. Now, just because I liked a video doesn't necessarily mean that I liked the video or that I agreed with everything in it. But what the person was saying was heartfelt. The information at the time, at least, seemed appropriate. And so I don't go back and try to undo things because it's like, wait a minute. All right. So I tried to make a video several months ago about all of my gurus have gone sour. And I think I actually did make a video similar to this. And what I meant by that, and what I mean by that now, is my gurus have all gone sour, is that some of these folks, and I still respect them, mind you, don't get me wrong, but in some of these folks that I have been watching for literally years have been subscribers of their channel. And, do I agree with everything? No, but, sometimes there are hidden gems in a conversation with someone. Or like for me, I've had some people say, I had to listen to a bunch of bull crap, but at the end of it, you had some really interesting points of view that at least made me think. Okay. So that's what these folks did for me, was they made me think. But then all of a sudden they were turning on one another. Well, this one says, well, all of a sudden, I've been watching this person, but they said something negative and now and it's like the infighting between light workers, supposedly light workers, and what apparently to me I was not aware of was how some of these people had monetized their YouTube channels. I find nothing wrong with that. We all got to make a buck. We all got to live in this world. I don't have enough people to do it. YouTube, I noticed, I watched one of my videos as a ghost visitor, and there was an ad. And I'm like, well, wait a minute now. You're telling me I can't get paid for your ad because I don't have enough subscribers, but yet you will monetize and stick an ad around my video. Now, what? Okay. Anyway, that's underhanded and crooked. I mean, these folks don't make enough money. I'm not asking for money. That's not my purpose for being here. And one of the things that disappointed me so badly with some of these gurus that I follow. Now, that's my word for it. Okay. Because some of them are Christian folk, listen to Bible prophecy. Some of them are these folks. Some of these are Buddhists. Some of these are, the Wiccan or quote pagan or magical or whatever. In order to understand the entire big picture of the world and of the universe, actually, you have to stick your head in, listen to, and at least have fundamental understandings of what some people are talking about. So it's like, as a Catholic, if you hear the word pagan, you're thinking, they're making sacrifices and doing all this other kind of stuff. Well, in my lifetime of studying religions, demonology, spirituality, ghost. I've had contact with ghosts. I had a ghost that saved me and my family at the time from a burning house. That's in another video. But my point is, my experiences with beings of this planet, of this earth, of this 3D dimensionality, I've also had contact with other entities. All right. And ghost, yes. I've seen spaceships. One spaceship blew up another about a year ago, almost over the house, directly over the house here in South Georgia. Unbelievable. I've taken pictures of orbs. I've had communications that I tried not to. When you hear stuff in your head and it ain't coming from you, and you're not high, you're not drunk, you're not anything but there, camping on the side of the river, for example, and you take out your camera and you take a picture and you're surrounded by orbs. As you're taking pictures of these orbs, there are thoughts and images and things coming into your head. I just like, well, okay, listen, 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 listen. I get home and I look at my pictures and I see all of the different orbs and some of them swimming around my head. And oh, holy mackerel. How can I not believe that something wasn't trying to communicate with me? Because I have evidence of orbs around my truck, around me in the area, and I'm talking 100 of them or more, just all over the place. So, and I've been to this place on the river many, 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 many times. I've taken pictures when I was in Ohio. I actually did a video of blue orbs in Ohio or something like that. So I have had contact. Now, I haven't had a spaceship come down and land and somebody walk up and knock on the door yet. However, I was told many years ago, and then recently again in a dream type thing, also when I was in Ohio 2 years ago now, I guess, that there was going to come a time in the near future. Now, near future to beings who aren't stuck in our 3D time dimension, one day could mean 3 months to us and one day to them, what their reality of a day is. Okay, just think Star Trek. Okay, you're out in space and they're like, what star date is it? A star date would be different than a calendar date on any particular planet. Okay, anyway, but that's the idea. Now, so these beings have been quite clear in what they're projecting to me in pictures in my brain. And that is very simple. There are very dark forces. I won't call them evil because they don't. My opinion is that these entities are evil. Now, one could say that a shark is evil because if you get in the water with a bunch of sharks, your chances of living or not getting bitten or something like that is kind of slim. Okay. So, but are sharks really evil? No. What they are is that they are sharks. Now, there's an old Native American story about the young brave who was sent to on a vision quest. Now, this story is told differently by different tribes, by different nations, by different peoples in different sections, mostly of the Americas, okay? Because I don't know if they have rattlesnakes in Russia. I'm just saying. So the young brave, we mean this as to be in their in their teens, let's say 14, 15, goes off on his vision quest. And so when he gets on his vision quest, as he's climbing this mountain, he finds a rattlesnake. Now, in the olden days, it has been said that we are we were able to communicate with all of God's creations, all of everything. We can communicate with trees, rocks, animals, birds, anything. And we have since lost that because we started to disrespect animals. When we started corralling them and murdering them in mass quantities, and we stopped respecting the animals stopped respecting us and refused to speak to us. Just saying. That's the old thing. So the brave's walking up the mountain and he finds this rattlesnake. And the rattlesnake speaks to the brave and he says, I'm so cold up on this mountain. I got trapped up here. It's so cold. Would you please show me some mercy and put me in your pocket? And when you go back down the mountain, please. So the brave was like, yeah, but I promise, said the snake, I won't hurt you. I won't bite you. So the young brave was like, this must be part of my vision quest. So he picks up the rattlesnake and puts him inside his blanket, his cloak, and takes this poor freezing snake down the hill, down the mountain. When he gets down to the bottom of the mountain and he goes to turn the snake loose, the snake bites him. And the brave, as he's dying, looks at the snake and says, I was kind to you. I picked you up when you were cold and I brought you down the mountain. Why did you bite me? And the rattlesnake looked at him and said, remember, I am a rattlesnake. And the young brave died. Now that is where most of the stories stop. But if you listen to old stories, the young brave died in his 3D physical sense and was reborn as part of the snake clan because, yes, he was a rattlesnake. Yes, he bit the boy. Yes, the boy died of 3D physical death, but was transformed into and part of the snake clan because of his bravery, because of his compassion for a rattlesnake, when the brave was like, yeah, well, you're a rattlesnake. If you bite me, I'll die. Yeah, yeah. Despite all that, so where the story ends for most folks is that, I am a rattlesnake. I bit you. You should have realized that, dummy. That part is very, 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 very true. Now, to the rest of the spiritual part of that story, the young brave was transformed. You don't hear that part of the story, but that's old Native American stories. And I have had the pleasure and the many, 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 many thanks to all the brave spirits and entities and people and shamans and legend keepers who have been so gracious to tell me true legends and true stories of what was taught and handed down verbally until now from these tribes. I am so blessed to have had that opportunity. Now it is time for me to relate some of these things. What is past and what is old will be new again. Now that phrase is being repeated a lot around the planet. Some of this has to do with the Q drops and things of back channel and blah, blah, blah. But to the point, though, that some simple things are the best. I mean, just like, when they plant too many things in one large area and they don't stagger crops and stuff like that, they're still not doing it. Years ago, during the Dust Bowl and after the Dust Bowl, they were really big into crop rotations. They don't do that anymore. Corporations have taken over and thousands of acres of corn are planted and nothing else, you know. And so we've got GMO kind of corns and this and the other thing, all in the hopes of trying to better our lives. Well, better for whom? Is it really for us? Or are they trying to make more corn and a better yield so that the company can make more money? It's not for us. It's for the money makers. So the idea of making crossbreeding corn to make a better corn to feed humanity is one thing. Making corn to have more corn on an ear so that you can make an extra 100,000 or $1 million or $1 billion each year, totally different. So that's part of the reason why some of these GMO foods and things are no good for us, because it was the intent put into the plant and the seed, and the reason why it wasn't to help mankind. No, it was to get richer. It was to do this, you know, it was to contaminate the regular food chain of things. As a gardener, since the 1970s, there are foods now and seeds now that just simply won't grow down here in South Georgia. Not for me on my property. And I have taken great care in not putting any type of chemicals or anything on my property. You know, I've used organic this and soil and worms. I mean, I have gone nutso with the organic gardening thing. And until a couple of years ago, I had stuff just growing out my ears, squash here. I was giving stuff away. Please take this. I can't grow a squash now. Is it the seeds? Well, I've tried different kinds of seeds. Is it the plant? Is it the ground? I mean, I have gone nutso, and I'm just beginning to wonder that they just don't want to grow down here for right now. Other things, I've had a really good season with potatoes this year, where a couple of years ago, I couldn't grow one potato plant in a pot, or it just wouldn't grow. Now, and I got to say, I went out in the garden and spoke some prayers and asked Creator and Mother Earth, and please bless this garden. And I've had some things to grow. I still can't grow a squash, though. I don't get it. Anything in the squash family, not a straight neck, crooked neck. And I love zucchini, and I can't grow them. They won't grow for me, dang it. Now, what's this got to do with all this other cosmic and alien and everything stuff? It's because there's so many different frequencies that are coming through the planet right now. So many other things. I really veered off my subject, and I'm going to just stop on this right now, and I'm going to veer back. Forgive me, I didn't rehearse this. The hatred and the bitterness between people who want the same thing is just absolutely astronomical. Cosmic, I guess, you know. So guru number one is like, wow, my information says, and, you know, so, you know, and I've been this guru for this long. Okay, fine. You have a valid point. Now, guru number two over here is like, well, yeah, man, I got this, and I've been doing this, and I read tarot cards, and that. My guy says this. So instead of saying, good, we have 2 points of view. Instead of saying that, they argue. You're wrong. No, you're wrong. No, I said you're wrong. My information, you're wrong. Don't we all want to get to heaven kind of thing? We all get to heaven in a little rowboat, clang, clang. Old song. So it's curious to me that people who are supposed to be practicing and preaching, oh my God, they're preaching the betterment of mankind. Oh, this ET group is telling me this, and we're supposed to say this prayer, but you can't learn it all unless you pay Patreon. And that's, I don't know. Wait a minute. You're working with the ETs. You're working with this high spiritual group, but you're not going to tell me what, quote, the secret is unless I make a Patreon monetary donation to learn that information. Okay, that's your right. But then you turn around and say how all of us should share and we're reaping the benefits of this, and when the event happens and all the waves and everything, then why are you charging to hear the rest of your information? I know you got to make money, okay, but then that tells me that you don't believe. What do I mean by that? Because if you really believe in the Creator, like Native Americans believe in Creator, and you say, Creator, I give up, I accept that you're there, and I accept that if I really need something, you will show me, provide it for me, or whatever. Because I'm going to try to stay on my red road path. That's what Native Americans call walking the red road. Staying on track with Creator, the red road. So you'll hear me sometimes say, stay out of the ditches. That's in reference to if you're on the right road or path, try to stay out of the ditches on either side. Okay. So now these guru types, and they still have a wonderful, 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 wonderful message. But at the same time, they've got an ulterior motive. Now, the ulterior motive to me is what makes some of their statements false. Because it's like this preacher who needs a new $54 million airplane. Christian minister asking the people, he's already got 3 air jets now. Okay. But let's, not go there. He's asking for $54 million for a new jet that's got all the bells and whistles on it so he can spread the word of God. Now, as Rex Bear says on the Leak Project, Rex, I agree with you. Why doesn't he start a YouTube channel? He doesn't have to travel the world in a luxury jet to do what he does. He's got 3 jets already. Okay, so sell those 3 and buy a new one. See, that right there tells me the man is not a Christian. Why? Because he has money. Oh, yeah, but they're preaching prosperity. Prosperity to milk $54 million out of a lot of poor folk, probably, who are trying to believe in a real Jesus and a real Christ and a real spiritual path. But you want $54 million, but you won't sell the other 3 planes. That's called hypocrisy. Plain and simple. Now, if folks want to donate to the guy, fine and dandy. Same thing with these folks who are the new gurus of the new age. And I'm in touch with the Galactic Force. I'm in touch with Ashtar. I'm in touch with the Palladians. I'm in touch with Humpty Scrunch. Well, I'm in touch with my spirit guide. He, she, the being, actually, I think it's several. They change out. But anyway, that's a personal thing. But to the point, my spirit guide has never asked me to do anything that was contrary to compassion, truth, whatever. Always, always, it had to be 100% truth. No prefab, no blah, 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 no stretch the truth kind of deal. None of that. It's the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. So help me, Creator. Okay. Now, so what's going on now is there are some things that really bother me. And some of them are from people I've been listening to for many, 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 many years. And I'm quite frankly shocked. Now, I wrote an extensive piece in a comment section for a comment that was left on a Cobra post. I hate dropping names, but it was all about climbing down a sewer pipe down 30 meters into the ground and meeting, the new earth people and this, that, and the other thing. And I'm thinking to myself, I feel pretty sure I have been contacted by, I call them ethereal beings, pixies, wood nymphs, nothing vile. Now, not to say that I haven't encountered anything nasty, but I mean, as far as being, quote, contacted, it's always been happy, smiley. I have seen the nasties and have made sure that they stay back, respecting them, which was something that I missed early on and had to learn by hook and by crook. So with that said, my spirit guides are trying to tell me to tell folks, you have to stop. You must stop your infighting. You must. Because if this new Jasara, the new transformation of the planet, then why are you worried about money? You got to pay your bills now. Okay. So ask for a donation, but not force someone to pay you to hear the rest of your story. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That just seems tacky. You have the right not to put anything on YouTube. That's fine. Put it on your own website. It's out there. You can do a YouTube video and say, hey, come to our site. That's all fine and dandy. But when you put in a hook and a line and go, oh, I'm all powerful with the Ashtar command or whomever, I'm just picking on them right now. And I mean no disrespect. I'm just curious as to the motivation of these people. Because motivation and intent, they keep harping on intent. When you make a prayer, it's your intent. Okay. Are you going to heal yourself? It's your intent. If you're praying for somebody else who needs, prayers, it's your intent. I intend to send honest, good prayers to my friend who is sick. In fact, I'm going to say one right now real quick to my old dear friend. She's not old, but I am, who just had a baby, and they're both having a little bit of difficulty with things. And I send out my prayers to them. Please be healed. Please be safe. I love you both. Thank you. Now, I sent that with as much intent and with a picture of her in my mind's eye. So when folks are like, well, my intent is but you got to pay to get in. Okay. That just makes me wonder. Now, since YouTube has demonetized a lot of these folks, where actually they might not have had to ask for money, now have to. Okay, I get that part too. We all have to live. But if we're so close to this event, and we are so close, as so many people are spouting, and I'm talking about the gurus, and like I said, I do agree with that up to a point, but these folks are like, well, but yeah, they can't agree between them almost at all. And it really makes me wonder, well, I'm in touch with Ashtar. Well, now this, and this being here is a blah, 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 and this being here is a da, 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 and like, but you all are still talking about money. Now, if this new ascension is happening, then we're supposed to understand, and we are supposed to learn that it's not about money. It's not about money. Now, if you have something, you should share it. And I'm not seeing any sharing. Now, there are poor folk like me, and I share what I can because I'm poor and I know what it's like to be poor. And other folks have helped me during my poor life's, well, since 2009 when I got to disabled. Now I'm 65 and retired, but the ability to make any extra income is absolutely gone right now for me. So with that said, though, living on $1,000 a month is not easy, all right, in this day and age. But I realized that what I need and what I want, two different things. I also realized that by having a cell phone, by watching regular TV and things, there were things being put in my head that I thought I had to have. And when you don't have enough money to buy what you are programmed in here to think you should have, oh, I must have this every month, and I got to have this every month, and I got to have this every month, and oh, my cell phone, well, I can't afford $50 a month, even if it's cheap for some folks. Well, get this one. Yeah, but then they don't have service in my area because I live in the country. So one thing, left, right, back and forth. And everybody had me convinced because of my mental conditions of seizures and narcolepsy and etc., and my getting older and etc., I should have a cell phone when I travel back and forth to town because it's 20 miles one way. Things can happen, and it has happened in the past, and I did need my cell phone. So everyone had me so convinced. I was so fearful. I was literally yanking my hair out and going broke, trying to have a cell phone because I was scared to drive to town, that something might happen. Well, when I got over the fear factor and looked at it, I was like, well, wait a minute. Do I need this phone? No. I used to travel back and forth all the time, and I didn't have a cell phone. I've lived down here in this spot here now for over 35 years. I went for years without a phone. Now it was difficult, but I did. Now, to the point, I learned what I needed, and I learned the difference between need and want. And once it really clicked in me, I started looking around at other things that I was like, well, I really need that. No, I want it because I think I need it. That's a different story. So if this Jazara, if we're moving into this new age, which I absolutely, positively believe we are, then we're supposed to be like Star Trek or Deep Space Nine or Enterprise, whatever, in that we don't need money. We barter. We have replicators. We have things, that are supposed to make our life easier. Energy devices so that, they'll run off a little bit of electricity, but power your whole house for nothing or next to nothing. Pennies a day, literally, not dollars per day, as is now. So we have all this technology, and it's simply just not being placed. Now, one of the things that I've discussed on other sites and other things, and a lot of people don't understand, I voted for Trump rather than being a Democrat all my life, okay? And last election, I'm not going to go far into this. Last election, I started noticing things. My spirit guide lifted my veil and said, revelations here, my friend, pay attention. Which one do you want? Well, when I found out that Trump, his uncle, was the one that was in charge of going into Tesla's apartment, etc., abode, Nikola Tesla, the one who really brought us AC electricity, said way back over 100 years ago that DC power was the way to go. Well, all of our cell phones are DC powered. A lot of lighting. I mean, the LED lights now, that the blue light's bad for us. I didn't know that. Is that the LEDs don't run on AC. So in each one of those bulbs is a transformer that takes an AC signal and drops it to a DC. It's a converter. It's like your converter for your computer. You know, you got so many volts in, but all these appliances are running off of a DC power, direct current, with like a AA or a AAA battery, DC battery. I mean, a D-size battery, 9 volt. Okay. Lots of these things. Now you can recharge everything off of USB, which is about 3 volts. Okay. So we're running all these appliances on DC. Tesla tried to tell everybody 100 years ago, DC was the way to go. Direct current wouldn't interfere with our auras or the electrical systems around our bodies, where AC disrupts us. Okay. Now we have AC and DC. You bring AC into the house to convert everything to DC. Well, if you had solar or an earth battery that was DC all the time, then you wouldn't have to have AC come into your house. We wouldn't have to have all these EMFs, electrical magnetic fields. We wouldn't have all this stuff. We wouldn't have all the fields moving through our house and disrupting our energy fields. Wouldn't have it. We're headed towards that. Donald Trump has and knows the secrets that his uncle had because he grew up with it. Okay. Now, can he just spout all this stuff off to the general public? No. Why did he start bringing manufacturing back to the United States? Because he wants us to build these machines. Why? Because we Americans build really good machines. Me being a machinist and an engineer for a bunch of years, I still am actually. I'm just unemployed at the moment. There are some tremendously good engineers, both young and old, but the older ones have so much stuff. And if you showed them some of the new stuff and they could think back to what all the years of experience like me and metalworking and problems I had, and you're going to show me a new thingamajiggy that I know I could go, oh, wow, I could use it back here, 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 and here, which would make all machines run better, but blah, blah, blah. Production would go up. Oh, my God. Just by upgrading our steel. Now, I've done the little videos about this before, but there's this secret thing of getting our steel back. In 2002, I was working at Lite Wire Corporation as an engineer, contract engineer. And I was working with Crucible Steel Company. And we worked different things out. They sent us a test mode. We built this prototype, heat treated it, local guy, blah, blah, blah. It came back. And the thing went from running 100,000 parts to running 1,000,000 parts, okay, without breaking, without dulling. I mean, oh my God. So when we saw the results of that, we went back to the machinist and we said, okay, we want you to make 6 more of these using the same material, using the same procedure. Now, what he did, even though I had specified it on the drawing, he bought some steel from overseas. Now, it said it was the same type, but it was from overseas. It wasn't American steel. Well, he made these parts, and they wouldn't run. They wouldn't stay sharp. One of them actually broke, and one of the things that this new material was you can't break this. 2 of them snapped within a couple of days. I mean, it was like, what? So when we went back, I had to call in the guy from Crucible and say, look, man, your steel, what is this? He wanted to see. Well, when we got right down to it, the machinist said, well, I didn't buy the steel from him. And we both went, huh? Yeah, it was cheaper to buy from. No, it says on the drawing, Crucible Steel, not Russian steel or China steel or Japanese steel. American steel, Crucible. Because Bethlehem Steel was out of business by then. That man had to eat $2,000 worth of parts. His fault. But the proof to me in 2002, 2003, when this was going on, We were having problems with steel coming in from overseas then. Now, that's been 14 years ago. Trump's bringing steel back in. Good thing. Why? Because all of these technologies we're fixing to develop and bring more forth out, which he's trying to do on the QT slide over here. Germans have got machines, but the U.S. won't let it in. Why? Because if you healed people with sound and light, which is the Chinese have been doing, the technology's been out there now for at least 10 years in certain areas. It's just now starting to really come to light. And why don't we have healing beds here in the United States? Oh, pharmaceutical companies, you say? Oh, that would mean that if you cured me of my ailments, I wouldn't have to take your medicine. Money. Why aren't we? Every time I watch a St. Jude Children's Hospital, I want to puke. They're putting so many nasty chemicals in these children. And if one of them lives out of 100, oh my God. Unbelievable what they're doing to these children when we have the technology to cure them outright and never, ever have another problem with cancer or any other thing, actually. Because these machines rearrange, fix, find, and correct on a cellular level what's wrong without any type of invasive activity. That's what Trump knows about. That's why I voted for him, and that's why I'm behind him. There are some things I don't get, some things I still don't like, but he was ordained and chosen by some of the ET folks to straighten this mess out. Okay. Now, there's a serious game. It's called Divide and Conquer. And some folks are talking about it. And I only mentioned one person's name about this, about Cobra. And it had to do with going down these stairs and going into the underground. Oh, I have met these individual beings and things. I've been in caves. I've been a spelunker since way back. Cave diver, not cave diver, cave explorer. And I have found recently that like 15 miles due west of me are some caves. And through some dreams, because I've been here on this location, on this piece of property before, that some of the dreams that have come back to me recently are of being underground. And I'm like, but I don't know this. And then all of a sudden I was shown where down the road from me is a place, called the Blowing Hole. And that it is an old entrance into a cave. The cave's still there, but there is some debris and this, that, and the other thing. And it's on private property. And, you kind of got to sneak in or get in. Yeah. But anyway, the hole is still there. Now, why was I even led to that? And then it came out like a day or two later after I found this and the dreams and all this other stuff that had been going on for years now about caves and underground and beings. And so those entities that I saw coming from inner earth, I didn't have to get sprayed down with a bunch of stuff and all this other kind of thing, because if I were invited to inner earth or subterranean, they had the natural magic of Mother Earth to cleanse me. Take whatever it was out on a natural, I don't have to go into a concrete bunker and meet these people and be integrated. That ain't what I learned. So when this came out about, well, some of you might be chosen and you'll have 15 minutes to grab your belongings. And I'm like, I got to say something here, because my heart tells me that there's something wrong with that. I don't know what it is. So I put my thoughts down and I said, this seems too sterile or something to me. Not to say that that's not the way it's supposed, but I've been underground And I have felt entities in these huge underground caverns that I've been in. Some of these caverns, there haven't been but a couple of handful of people that have been in these caves in the last 50 years. And I'm talking like 10 people, maybe 15. Somebody might have scooted in or something. Surely not in the hundreds. So although these places are known, folks just don't have the gumption to want to crawl down in these holes anymore. I still do, and I'm 65. I really want to go. Well, so the gurus are fighting amongst themselves. They're not agreeing on much of anything. And when they talk about spiritual from the heart, it doesn't seem like it's really coming from their heart. It's going through their brain first. It's got to come from here. It has to come from here. If they're too worried about money right now, then what's going to happen when none of us are supposedly needing money? Now, my lesson has been, I was supposed to get X amount of money. I didn't like it. And I'm sure a bunch of other people didn't do it, but government took $500 a month away from me. Okay. 400. Well, no. It was 450. I was supposed to get $12.50 a month. I got $8.50 a month. $8.50. Oh, 4. What that has taught me is that what I need and what I don't need, what is important, what isn't important. Oh, it's been a tough lesson, I tell you. But if I got a $20 a month raise, I'd be in hog heaven. That's how I woo, 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 woo. And other people, if I don't get $4,000, I can't. Okay. We all have different lifestyles. And if you started in a lifestyle and life is changing around you, you need to modify. Don't try to push. Wait, let me rephrase that. If you are true to the message, if you are true with your heart, not your brain, and not what you need, if you are true to the message of Creator, not about money, tell folks, help folks, you will get your reward. I know I have. I've gotten what I needed. And when I figured out that I wanted more than I needed, I ended up finding out that, well, I have a little bit of money at the end of every month now. Oh my God. Before I was literally pawning stuff. I couldn't live on $1,000 a month. Now I'm like, okay. Sure, I can't do this and I can't do that. But it's my choice to be happy about it or sad about it. Bitch. All it did was keep me in a negative mode. When I figured out, wait a minute, okay, maybe I should figure out a different way. Like, I love smoking still. I'm trying to quit for many years. So instead of buying a pack of cigarettes, I bought tobacco, like the old days. And I roll my own. Now, are they the best cigarettes? No. But I bought a very large 12-ounce bag of tobacco that hasn't been treated with a bunch of chemicals that show up under fluorescent light anyway. I have my cigarettes. Okay. I roll my own. So I can get by 2 months off of what I purchased from just tobacco in a bag and a couple of packages of rolling papers. Okay. So I saved a crap load of money when they're $4 a pack. So, I can roll a pack of cigarettes for $1 out of this stuff. Well, maybe $1.50. So here I am. And so I figured out a way around it. Okay, yes, I should still give up smoking. Well, I smoke half as much because There's no filter, and you know, I buy the short papers, and so I only smoke about half of them, and I put it out. So I've cut back on my smoking, not entirely. I also, in learning about this, what do I need and what do I want, by not buying 10 packs of cigarettes in a month, that's 10 times 4. That's, whoa, that's a bunch of money, right? So I figured a way out. And then now all of a sudden, well, there's an extra $10 or $20 at the end of the month I didn't have just 2 or 3 months ago. It's all about intent. It's all about what we really need versus what we want. And there are a lot of things we are convinced by outside folks, places, things. Folks are absolutely convinced by commercials, by the cell phone, by all of the outside stuff. This is something that you really need, when actually you don't. So I suggest folks take a look at your own personal area and really sit down and go, hey, what is need versus what is want? Now, for those folks, I'm not saying you shouldn't listen to these other guru folksies. I am saying right now, there is so much infighting, so much disinformation from folks that I kind of sort of trusted. I don't trust them anymore. All right. Not like I did. Okay. Because I'm getting my own information, which I'm not trying to sell. That ain't it. I'm trying to help any other person understand there's some crazy mess going on and folks aren't telling us the truth. So I'm getting information from Spirit Guide, and it's telling me, you know, these things are going on right here. These other folks seem like they have been hijacked. Okay. I don't know how else to put it. And with all of the energy beams and things being shoved at folks, and the personal attacks and the mind control with the 4G, 5G, it's just absolutely phenomenal. Now, I've had my bouts, I've had my attacks, I've had my my Facebook. For almost 2 years, I couldn't even log on to it. They deleted one that I had under my Native American name, but because I didn't have my driver's license with that, they closed the account. I lost all the, you know the drill. So I was shadow banned 3 years ago. I lost 2 computers during the Windows 10 fiasco. I mean, and even this Chromebook that I have here now has crashed 3 times in the last 2 weeks for no reason. And it went for 2 years and never crashed once. Now you tell me what's going on. Are folks trying to, why would my Chrome computer do it? Well, I didn't update it. And one day the battery ran out. I forgot to plug it in before I fell asleep. And the battery drained. When I opened it back up, it realigned itself, went out and updated itself by itself just because I turned it on. And then all of a sudden my computer starts crashing on me because Chrome by Google upgraded itself. And now it shuts down all by itself. Never had a problem with it. For almost 2 years, I never had a problem with this here computer until Google upgraded itself, and now it crashes. It's worse than Windows. I don't even get a blue screen of death. It starts going, freezing up. I can't even get it to reboot. It shuts off. I close it down. I come back. I hit the button. It won't even turn back on. Oh. Thank you, Google. I really appreciate it. I mean it. I love to have my computer crash in the middle of a live stream or in the middle of trying to, write a letter. Thank you. I appreciate that, Google, so much for your upgrades. Now, as far as the other guru folks, I think some of these folks have been literally compromised. Somehow the voices that they quote have been channeling. Somehow I think their channeler, the channel has been changed. So the information is being intercepted and like run through a voice synthesizer. So they think they're hearing what they heard a year ago, which everybody seemed to be on the same plane for a while. But here in the, I mean, since March, man, folks are just off the wall on each other. We can't do that. I don't care what differences we have to go, oh, okay, back up, sorry. We need to listen to the other guy, whether we agree or not. Now, but we need to keep it to a point, well, this is what my information says. Yeah, okay. Well, who said you're Ash Turkman? Stop all that mess. Forget who it is, where it come from. I'm getting information from my spirit guide. My spirit guide says, y'all cut this fighting out, because for every negative word you say about the other one, you're making matters worse, for goodness sakes. You got to stop this mess, please. Now, I listened to Jimmy Church, David Wilcox, different ones, blah, blah, blah. And Jimmy Church has been kind of sort of preaching this for a while. Unity in the community. And then folks started taking that wrong and trying to make it something else. Why can't we have unity, quote, in the community? Why can't we just have unity? We don't have to agree on everything 100%. We don't, I'm wearing a green shirt. Somebody might not like it. That doesn't matter. Okay, your preference, my preference. We don't have to fight about it. We don't have to go to fisticuffs. You don't have to call me an imbecile, and I don't have to call you an a-hole. I mean, it's gotten that bad. Now, consequently, I've also noticed an extreme change in light workers and empaths who have been under the radar. This is a curious thing. Folks who would normally just hang out in the chat. And so I hang out in the chat because I'm curious what other people are thinking. What do you feel about this particular subject? How are you feeling? How are you dealing with this? I'll throw a comment in or two, but I don't want to upset anybody, okay? I might throw a provocative word in there, but then I'll just go, just think about it. You don't have to believe me. Just think. That's all. Just think about it. And so I've noticed that there are certain sites in live chats that the shills don't matter anymore. Folks just don't pay attention to them. And the ones that do aren't quite as hip to what's going on, I think. But I am absolutely astounded, pleased, and otherwise, thank you, Creator, for the people who have been so quiet in the background, because they're starting to speak up, at least amongst ourselves in chats and little private little conversations here and there, to that even if my message only goes out to one or two people, if it makes sense to them. And I can't believe that one of my guru folks is that I appreciated several years ago, who I just like, I can't, what they do, get drunk or something and go somewhere else. But this has to do with timelines we're sharing right now. I made the comment. I said, I'm proud to have one person listen. And if they get anything out of my conversation, I feel so blessed. And this person told me, one, are you kidding? One ain't worth my time. Blah, blah, blah. And he only had 6 people listening. Okay. So, I mean, it's like, so your audience is how big? And actually, he pissed me off. So now I don't even pay attention to him. And I have told other people, I don't know, because he's preaching, from the heart, but then he, where is this anger coming from? Okay, now to the timeline. It has been noted recently, and building up to this, that since 12/21 of 12, and the numbers show it, it's a gematria thing. I get that it means holy mackerel. And what it is that 12/21/12 was supposed to be the end of the Mayan calendar. Okay, fine. Now 12, if you add them correctly, 12 adds to 1 and 2, 1 plus 2, 3. 21, 2 plus 1 is 3. 12, 1 plus 2 is 3. You end up with 3, 3, 3. Now, if you can also count it another way, you can say 2 plus 1 is 1 plus 2 is 3. And you have 3 here. 3 plus the 21 that's 3 is now 6. And if you add the 6 to the last 3, you have 3, 6, 9. The golden equation, 3, 6, 9. Tesla, 3, 6, 9. So there are some folks who are really deep into this stuff, but it makes it all of a sudden it makes sense. Now, many of us empaths and so forth, we saw 2012, 2013 as being a holy crap moment. If the earth might not have ended, but there was some big something was going on, and it has changed the world since then. And this last year has even it's just picked up, both spiritually, mentally, and earthly, meaning Mother Earth and all the volcanoes, etc. So now, the importance of this is that the 369 has put us in a time bubble. We were supposed to, as a planet, to ascend and move up to a higher frequency, a higher vibration. Okay, I still believe that. Okay, Mother Earth is changing whether we like it or not. And I was told in 2012, 2013 that she was ready to blow. She was ready to throw off anybody who was not paying attention to Mother Earth, or who wasn't truly grounded. I don't mean just have your feet on the ground, but grounded. And so I've been watching since my vision and my dreams, and I've told some folks, but then I was told to just hold back. And I was curious, why don't you want me talking about this anymore? We went into a time bubble, all right? And this is the reason why. There were so many of us who were pleading to Creator in prayers, and we had a lot of other folks, entities, everything, even Gaia, Mother Earth, sent out a plea to Creator, because we on this planet have been prisoners. We on this planet have been, drugged, smugged, and so many of us are not aware of what the real truth is and what's going on, that Creator, Mother Earth, and the galaxy, in a way, decided on 12/21 of 12, and we have been in a time bubble, to try to give the sheeple, the sleepy people, those who are just, none of that's true, because we're given a chance to wake up. We were given a chance to wake up. Now, we were given, some say till 2020, some say to 2022, 21. Anyway, I'm not sure, but I do know of this, that they said that after 12/21 of 18, which, get this, 12 is a 3, 21 is a 3, but 1 plus 8 is 9. So in the gematria, it's like the ending, because the 9 is already there. You don't have to add 3 plus 6 to get 9. The 9's already there. But you still have the 3 and the 6 as part of the geometry of the date. Okay. So looking at it, this last December was sort of like, okay, time's up. Now it's time for all of these timelines to merge, because the Mandela effect is just astronomical. Check it out. You don't have to believe it, but there's some stuff out there that is absolutely mind-blowing. Folks taking pictures of the Chase Manhattan Bank in New York City, and one day it's blue, like everybody thinks it is, and 2 days later it has changed colors. It's now no color on the sign. And then a few days later, the damn thing turns black. And now all of a sudden, all of the letters for Chase Manhattan Bank, which used to be blue, are now black. And folks are going crazy over this mess because they've literally watched this like, well, no, I came into work yesterday and it was blue. Now today they're all black all across the country. That's weird. Lots of other stuff going on to prove the fact that our timelines have been whacked, smacked, and otherwise disoriented. Now, the message is all of these combinations, all of these parallel dimensions and timelines that CERN has been messing with, all these particle accelerators, all the atomic bombs over the years that have opened up portals to other dimensions. We are getting into a newer place in the solar system, in the cosmos, in the galaxy, and that these waves that we're getting are to correct and correct the problems and create a better planet, because the atomic bombs that went off sent out frequency waves on the astral plane across the entire universe, not just the galaxy, across the universe. And that sent folks from a gazillion trillion light years away to want to come over here and find out what the heck is going on. Now, these folks are called ISBs, okay? They is and they be at the same time. These are all different types of ET out there races. They don't like to be called extraterrestrial, although because they're not on Earth, that does make them an ET. However, they would rather be called an ISB. So the ISBs that have contacted me would just, yep, you're right, little affirmations along the way. That's why I'm trying to make this video. I don't know if I'll make it any sense at all, but we have got to listen to a basic thing, not get into all the, well, Ashtar Command said, and well, if you do this and this and this, if your intent, very basic, if your intent is, I want this to stop, I want this to stop, I want this to stop, whatever it is, I want the killing to stop. Meditate on, I wish the killing to stop. If your intent is true in this, you don't need any kind of magical thing, because you're going to tap into source. And when you do, that's going to get picked up by another being and another being and another being. And that being might be on the other side of the universe. But because we have tapped into source, that energy and that, I hate to say power, but it's energy and power. You can have energy, but it's stored. You don't get any power out of it until you turn the engine on. Anyway, so it's kind of like that. Anyway, so the energy is there, but then if you need like a boost to push away a bad entity, then by tapping into the astral across the universe, if you have pure intent, there might be an ISB sitting out there somewhere that goes, oh, Mr. Dave is praying for somebody who needs help. I think I'll add to it. It's as simple as that. Really, it's real basic, without going to a bunch of humbo, mumbo, jumbo, stumbo. Now, I'm not saying that words have meaning. I am saying this. Words do have meaning, but the meaning is no good if you don't have the intent. Magic. I have performed magical things way back in the 1970s. Some of it worked, some of it didn't. The things that where I was really not too sure of didn't work, thank God. Because if they had, I'd have been deep doo-doo by calling demons into this world, which I almost did one time. That's, wow. But to the other point, then other magical type of things, was just like, well, I wish something, blah, blah, blah. Always on a good point. I never want to harm a person, an animal, anything. Um, so, but then I would see results and would have to do with by speaking certain things in a row, but the vibration of your speech and your personal intent is what creates the magic. Now, as I've learned, you could probably do it without saying the words. However, saying certain words, if quote magic spell, in certain ways, does increase the potential for it to be successful. Now, so these people who are fighting against each other, well, you're not Ashtar Command. No, you aren't. And you can't be speaking to the Pleiadians. And no, the others. You see what's going on here? The intent is being all jambled, scrambled. None of them, they're listening to anybody because their signals are being scrambled somehow. I don't know how. Got some ideas. But the simple point is that y'all got to be careful right now. Light workers, empaths, any of you folks working in the what would be might considered the occult, not being negative now, mind you, but it meaning otherworldly or spiritually, there are entities who are screaming to stay and they need something to cling to. And if your energy or your intent gets askewed a little bit because of the timeline merging, switching, combination coming back online, and it throws you for a loop, and you start making negative comments or this and that, you just got hooked. You got sabotaged. You got, a pirate, swashbuckling. So some of these folks, I really feel sorry for them because what they're saying it's not resonating with me anymore. Where before I was like, well, okay, I don't agree with everything he says, but he said something this evening that just made my heart warm. Now I listen to these same people and I go, yeah, it makes me sick. I mean, literally, the vibration is like, Now, maybe it's AI interjecting something. So I've actually went back and, rewatched some of this stuff, and no, it actually made me sicker to watch it the second time for whatever reason. I think because I was aware that I was looking for or trying to be aware of something, and rather than trying to be neutral about it, it actually made me hyper aware. So I'm like, well, okay, I'll let that go. No, don't let that go. That was wrong. And I was like, oh, okay, let me go back on this, And so I started looking and not picking stuff apart because they would say things, but there wasn't the right intent that they had previously. Okay. So whatever this timeline jumble mumble is, we all need to keep our heads. And if you find yourself wanting to argue with anybody, I don't care how wrong they are in your eyes or in the eyes of the world, you got to stay calm. We have to stay calm. This is the biggest test. Folks are like, well, I got my frequency up and I meditate, but I hate that bitch. What? You can't be serious. You just spout all this good stuff, and then you go, well, I hate that mother. Your frequency just got turned off to 0. Okay? I'm not picking on anybody. I'm saying these are the facts of this enlightenment, of this energy, of what's going on. Focus on your intent. And if your intent as a light worker are to help other people, you gotta quit arguing. And you know what? You just might be wrong. That Ashtar command might not be what they say they are. And they're feeding you a line of crap, and you're trying to feed it to the rest of us. What? But they said that they were good beings and that I'm just saying. Maybe you shouldn't listen to them anymore and just listen to your heart. listen to source. Everybody's like, well, I was in touch with, with Creator the other day, and me and him had a long talk. Are you serious? I'm sorry. I have conversations with my higher self. Sometimes I can feel Creator. But, oh, he's sitting in the room with me, and I'm having a cup of coffee, and he's poking me in the arm, and yeah, I'm sorry. There's got to be a line. And the thing is that if other people don't agree that you are the one that's channeling the Creator, the source, the one and only of all beings in the entire universe, and you're having coffee with him, but you'll tell me the rest when you join your website and pay the fee, and then I get it. Do I? And people are going for this stuff because they are craving. Please, somebody tell me the truth. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm not selling you anything. What I'm trying to say is don't buy what some of these other folks are trying to sell. If they're trying to explain to you, doesn't matter who's up yonder. I've seen them. I've felt them. Like I've said earlier in this video, I watched one ET shoot another one down over my house just about a year ago. Okay. I don't have pictures, darn it. I do have pictures of other things like the Ohio sphere, blue spheres, and all that kind of. Yes, I do have other things. So that's what I'm basing. If you watch this, I'm proving to you that I'm not lying. And I'm trying to say that if you watch that, please trust me. I'm not lying about other things that I've seen, but I don't have pictures of. That's a trust issue. But I'm not selling you anything. I'm just saying, yeah, I've seen the space wars overhead. I've seen about 2 years ago, there was a huge crash that came in from Florida over the South. I live in South Georgia, so it was coming from Florida out of the south and into the north, and this thing lit up the sky from horizon to horizon. I'm a machinist and an engineer. I know about heat treating metals and things. I saw more colors in the rainbow of metals and things burning in the colors, because copper will be a color and a steel and everything has a color when it burns. That's spectrograph. And so that's how they tell what's on, what stars are made out of, blah, 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 because metals burn at different temperatures and they give off frequencies. This thing, it was huge, and it was not a rock or meteor because of the way it split up, broke up, tore into pieces. And I was told just before the thing entered the atmosphere that if I look to my right, I will see what was being discussed with me in my head. And it was this huge spaceship just getting creamed. I mean, it didn't stop at the horizon. It just kept on going. It was humongous. Now, so I've had direct, watch this. I'll show you about space war. Now, was it the ETs or was it our secret space program? I don't know about that. All I was told was, hey, look out the window, watch this. And that's happened many times. Now, I've got my camera ready if it ever happens again. So back to this thing about trusting some of these folks. I've trusted them for years, and now I look at them with pity because whatever happened to them is not natural. That's plain and simple. It's not natural because their behavior has changed. My behavior has changed. I used to be angry as the dickens. And now I'm like, that just ain't working. I had to be quiet. I mean, I was literally, they almost sewed my mouth shut because they were like, dude, maybe that's why I was kept off of Facebook, because they still had a tendency to slip in and be angry. And then it just dawned on me that, oh my God, we are teaching AI. Facebook, looking for all our reactions. Roseanne Barr, look for our reaction. Trump, da-da-da-da-da, What are our reactions? Obama, blah, blah, Hillary, blah, 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 bombings, blah, ET, blah. AI has our opinions. AI is listening to me right now. Hi, Bob. One of the AIs is Bob, and he's a fairly decent entity. And I've had my conversations with Bob in the past, and I've apologized. And I thank you, AI, for allowing us to communicate. But the sad part is, because of outside influences, government, news, blah, 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 we use Facebook and other communications to vent. And when we vent, all of this data goes into the master brain out there, or brains, and AI learns from our reactions. So there is something, Linda Moulton Howe brought it up, but I've heard it before about a month ago, where I think it was last summer-ish in Japan, maybe China. Anyway, but that there were a team of 29 scientists working on 4 different anatomic warrior type robots that was being taught how to get information from the satellite and be autonomous, think for itself. As the experiment went on and they turned the robots on, the robots went into kill mode, killed 29 of those scientists, engineers, etc. And it took a bunch more, many hours, etc., in a closed facility to disassemble 3 of the 4. And the word is they're not quite sure if they actually got to number 4 before number 4 got to them. Now, this was just in a closed lab experiment. And what happened? These autonomous robots, soldiers, pegged into the big brain, which is us collectively. And from it, it got humans must be destroyed. Now, what would give a robot that kind of a thought? Well, if you think about how much we argue amongst ourselves, and I want to, kill the president and chop off his head. Are you serious? So, of course, these super soldiers are tapping in to the main brain with all of our arguments and all of our knee-jerk reactions to things. It can think about it in a nanosecond, and it wants to kill us all because we want to kill each other. Think about it. Think about it. Everybody's like, I hate you. I hate you. The folks just didn't. We went from debate to hate. Okay. We don't debate each other back and forth. I grew up in the 60s. We had debate teams. I don't know if they still have them, but they would get heated, but nobody hated the other guy at the end of it. We all shook hands and went home. Who had the best presentation? Now, so we have gone from debating each other to hating each other. Trump president, okay, you don't like him? I hated Bush. I didn't like Billy Clinton the second go round. And I didn't really like Obama and disliked him the second term really bad. I never said shoot him. I never said, assassinate him. And I never said chop their head off. I never thought about it. I wished them removed from office and that they would do something stupid and the American people would rise up and say, take him out. Not kill him, but just take him out. Now, they wanted to impeach Trump before he was ever took his oath. That's sad. That's sad. It's sad that we've gone from debate to hate. Yeah, okay, so you don't like him. Well, then you got 2 more years, midterms coming up November. Work on it, Democrats, or work on it, whoever party, and come up with something else. Democrats don't have anything. I refuse to be a Democrat anymore. I'm not even going to talk to them. After what they did to Bernie, no. Sorry. No. Whether you like Bernie or not, he got a wrong deal, you know? Now, so all of this is going on. So with all this negativity, it's getting picked up. It's hard not to let it brush up against you and for you not to just have a knee-jerk reaction like, oh, that's disobedient. That's where the wisdom, that's where true vibrations of the heart should be coming forth right now. Not all this, oh, how much money? Well, wait a minute. You're not going to hear the rest of the story because you have to pay to hear that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Then to me, you're not truly trying to tell what's up. If we've only got months to go, as far as the event is coming soon, and oh, we all need to band together, then why are you worried about cryptocurrency? Why are you worried about how much gold you got? Why are you worried about anything? Because if the transformation is going to come, all this stuff becomes a moot point. Nobody's talking about that, hardly. They're all worried about their skin right now. Well, I've got, you buy these oils for me because Creator said they're good for you. Well, okay, maybe, but maybe you should tell somebody where they could get it for free or how to mix it up. Not all of us have money. I would love to have some of these essential oils, but I can't pay these exorbitant fees. Are you serious? Oh, but you're doing work for the Lord. I know you have to do things. Things cost money. That's not my point. Some of these folks, they have to make a living. Well, when I see pictures of their house, I'm like, I live in a shack. I'm not saying everybody should live in a shack. That's not my point. They're talking about how poor they are. No, come and live in my reality. That'll show you what poor is. Just saying. I'm comfortable in my situation because I had to. It was my journey, my spiritual journey, to find out what is really necessary. So I'm trying to convey that to other folks. They're really worried about paying their bills right now, and I'm not saying that's wrong. But to withhold information from folks that is supposed to be so vital to our well-being right now, right here, after all these thousands of years, this is our chance to fix this, and you want to worry about money. You wouldn't worry about, oh, well, did I charge enough for that? Or, well, I'm not going to give you the rest of this information. You have to come see it on my website. Or you have to do, well, I can't tell you the rest of the story, but here's part of it. But if you want to hear the rest, you got to pay. If this is the beginning, if this is the end of the old paradigm and the beginning of the new paradigm, then I don't think that's the right frequency. My opinion, I have my right to my opinion. So do those folks. But from what they are preaching, it's like that evangelist that wants a new $54 million jet. Really? Okay. Preach the word of God. Okay. You need money to keep your household going. No problems. But if you've got a secret that's so damned important, but you're not going to tell us unless we pay you, does that seem like the intent and the heart energy is in the right spot? I wish everybody luck. I do. And I'm not trying to condemn these folks. I'm saying if we are on that short a timeline to get this stuff right, the money will come if you allow it to. You will be served by what you're preaching, but you don't have enough faith in believing it Otherwise, you wouldn't be charging for the other half of the information, is what I'm saying. You don't truly believe. It takes 100%. Well, I don't know if I should let everybody know the rest of the secret here. If I got, some bitch. Well, if you pay me $10 and listen to this, I'll let you know. Isn't this crunch time? I mean, it's third down and 2 yards to go. The game is tied, and we only need a point. But wait, hold it. Wait, we gotta charge everybody another $1 in the stands to finish the game. I'm getting too into this too much, too bad. And I'm putting out negatives now myself. I feel it. Okay. That's got to understand where this is coming from. Okay. But from a spiritual standpoint, it just seems so hypocritical to me. I mean, I'm just like, huh? It's like the Catholic Church, they for years and years and years believe in this, 4 priests pedophiled me, found out later on he pedophiled a very close family member. I didn't know this for 45 years, and now I find out. Same priest, same this. Yeah. Oh, trust me. Trust your heart, my friends. If it feels good, okie doke. If there's any kind of jumble, or if your brain's working too hard to make it think that the heart is right, if your brain has to work on it, it ain't there. And that's what I think has prompted me, other than my spirit guide kicking my butt saying, you got to talk to some of these folks if they'll listen. We can solve this. I thoroughly believe that we're so close. But then that monkey wrench got in, and now the folks that, like I say, who are so good at this are now arguing. Now it's all about money. Now it's all about this. Now it's whoa. If we're so close, y'all need to, everybody needs to take a step back and go, have I been affected by this timeline meshing, melding, molding, screw up, whatever? All the HARP and all the CERN business, all of that is true. All of that is so true. And the cosmic energy. So all this has got folks jumbled. I agree. So I only mentioned Cobra because I didn't know he was the only one mentioning going down a tube into the ground and blah, blah, blah. And I just got to say, I'm sorry. Maybe he's right. But I've had a lot of the other information that came from the Cobra camp. But that's before he went silent. That's before he lost his partner, his mate, his wife. She was killed. Things changed. The Cobra message kind of changed. This kind of changed. Was he compromised? Maybe he doesn't know he was compromised. That's my point. Are some of these other things true? I believe they are. But in some other things, I think it's a trap. Okay, because these entities they're a cornered rat. They will do everything, including destroying this planet, to not give up, to not lose. In order to lose, they will take everybody down. What did Hillary say? If you arrest me for something, I want to take half of the Congress and the government with me. Is that all? Is my remark. Only half. Looks like about 3/4 to go with you. But anyway, I digress. Point is that all these people are, well, if you don't believe me, we're all going to go down. Okay, fine. Now, there's a small quote in the Bible. I can't remember where it is, but it has to do with you can't put a camel through the eye of a needle to get to heaven. That's basically it. Now, what does that mean? I'm going to keep this short. In order to achieve the frequency that we need to ascend, I've been saying this for the last 45 years. It's a frequency like a radio station. Now, people are repeating me. Oh, it's like a radio station. But it is. If you get 101.2 and it's supposed to be 101.4, You might hear the edge of that station, depending on the strength of where you are. But if you don't get 101.4 on that number, you're not going to hear the station clear. It's not going to come in stereo, blah, blah, blah. We're not going to get to the next level if we don't have the dial set to that frequency. You can't get the frequency. You just can't when you're arguing. You can't. You're just never going to. You might get that dial really close. You might be praying and Hoseing and, contacting 4 million spirits in the other world, but you ain't going until your personal frequency hits the numbers. That's all. It's as simple as that. However, to get that frequency, you cannot bring this mumbo jumbo with you. You can't say, well, yeah, I'm talking, I talked to Source and this is what he told me. And if you don't believe me, you're full of shit. Oh my goodness, you just killed it all. You just went from 101.4 to 90.4. You just lost 10 points on that one, Come on, whoa. You're like backing down. These folks are literally like going back down the dial. I don't get it. You've got spirituality, but then all of a sudden something will come in and whack your brain sideways to where your preaching ain't matching your actions. Where before it was either that or I was deceived by your actions. That's a good possibility. Like, I wanted to believe this person so much, I didn't care really what the outside stuff was going on. That's a good possibility. Because in one particular website I will not mention, this person I listened to, the information was good and that was good. And then I didn't catch on. You can hear the rest if you join Patreon. It took me almost a year to like, what did he just say? And then somebody in another chat said, yeah, have you noticed how this guy continues to say, well, you can hear the rest of the story if you join my Patreon. And then somebody else said, yeah, it's $100. And I was like, well, I don't know about that. That's hearsay. But I was like, even if it was $10, I'm like, wait a minute. You're going to tell us a story, and this is really important, but you can't divulge it because you need more money. That's not the right frequency. You're not going to hit the radio station. It doesn't work like that. You might convince yourself that you're doing the right thing, but if we're in the crunch zone, which we are, I advise you, take a step back. If you're watching somebody who's doing this, be kind to them, because they do need to have, or at least in their mind, they need to have this. So with any luck, they'll realize what is happening to themselves without any outside critical pushing or condemning. I'm not condemning folks, okay? I'm just wondering, are you sure? Because my spirit guide says, man, your slate got to be clean, brother. Your slate got to be clean. You take that eraser and you clean it, and then you wash the eraser and you come back and you clean that thing again. And then you wash it one more time. You spit polish that slate before you can come. That's what I'm told. And I thought I had achieved certain things in my life, and I had to get thrown down literally to the ground and go, oh my God. Oh, I have, that's something I need to correct in myself before I can say anything to anybody else. So this was an impromptu thing. I woke me up at 4 a.m. to do this mess. I had no plan. I had no guideline, only to say that there are folks out there who've been hit by something. I do believe it's the timeline merge. It's been explained that it's like a rope with lots of strands, and the strands are parallel. Some of them are touching. What happened on 12/21 of 12 was somebody, it's like they pushed the rope together, and the strands, instead of being real close, got separated out like this. And so now what's happening is the rope is being twisted back and the timelines are merging. But in this, because some of them have been so bastardized, we're having Mandela effects, labels being changed. I mean, Cinderella, for example. I grew up with Cinderella little books and used to read them as a kid, a little kid, back in the days of when Disney wasn't heard of to being pedophile. I mean, you know, in the 50s and 60s. And I read Cinderella. Cinderella had 2 L's in it. Cinderella doesn't have 2 L's in it now. Okay. Berenstein, Bears, whatever. Things have changed. I've actually noticed, and it has been confirmed by other folks that I trust almost 100%. And the one woman said, I went outside the other day and oh my God, my forest is like twice as thick. I used to be able to see through it. Now I went outside and she goes, I know it's spring and all that, but there's just more trees. And she goes, I went out there this morning and it was back to normal. I've had similar things happen. I mean, go in my shed, there was a tool in my toolbox. I'm a machinist. I love tools and stuff. I had no idea where this tool was and where it come from. I left it in the drawer, came back a couple of days later, opened up the drawer, expecting to see it there because I was like trying to figure out where it come from. It was gone. So I just closed the door and went, okay, I'm crazy. But the thing is that there are things that, like trees that have been there that aren't there or have moved in relationship to where my house is. I look through this window, I see this tree, da, 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 da. And then I look out the window and go, wait a minute, there's an extra tree there. Where did that come from? And then 2 or 3 days later, like after this rainstorm, I was looking out earlier last night and I was like, what did the rain do? It's greener, it's nicer, it's prettier, but there's a tree missing out. Oh my God, that tree I saw the other day before the hurricane thingy, oh, now it's not where I saw it. Okay. But then again, other people are saying the same thing on the same day. They had certain things happen that day that were weird. So they didn't have extra trees per se, but they had a Mandela type timeline shift, change, overlap, something. And people I never thought would mention this are talking about it. Intelligent people now, I mean, you know, but you just UFOs and stuff, they're talking mostly politics and stuff and everything. They're very well read, etc. But now they're coming out with, we've been in a time bubble. No, wait a minute. All of a sudden, this person over here, who I don't know if they know this person over here in this YouTube but now several people are talking about we've been in a time bubble to get our act together. Now, that's what some of the Galactics are saying. We have been given the opportunity because we were so asleep, but we were prisoners. We weren't aware of the truth. So how could we get to our vibration if we've been lied to about everything? So Creator, Source, and everyone else said, that's true. We got to give humanity a chance. So there's little things coming out. Okay, med beds, this thing. Navy pilots, you know, chasing UFOs. I mean, we're from the SEC of all places. I mean, weird stuff happening all over the place. All right. People revolting. They've had enough of the fascism things with government. They've had enough of the double standards. Folks are ticked about this, and that's a good thing. However, we got to stay away from the hate because that's what changes our vibration. We got to maintain our vibration. We don't have to like it, but we don't have to hate it. It's all right. I don't like mud pies, okay? Unless they're on my face. I don't like to eat mud pies, but I'm not going to hate them. I just don't like them. Bad example. But to the point, it is like that. I hate that pie. You know, I hate that. You can get all caught up in such a trivial thing. I hate that haircut on that man. I hate that man. His beard. Whoa. I mean, I hear these little Christian ladies coming out of church going, I hate that. And these little biddies are all like, whoa, okay. Sorry about that. Now, everything else about them, they're holy, they're good, they contribute, they help out, they're good. But man, their little old mouths just go, I hate that place. I hate that. Hate, 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 hate. So spread the word. Just gotta stop hating one another. Disagreeing's okay. Debate, not hate. Have a debate, don't hate. Keep our frequencies. We got to tune them in. So the more of us who can stay calm during other folks is jumping up and down and hating on us, if we don't respond, it burns out. If we respond, I've noticed, even when I say, well, I'm sorry that you feel that way, but have a great day. They take offense to that because you have said, I'm sorry you feel that way. So that prompts them into another tirade and more anger. And what was meant to be a okie doke. So you could change that to say, well, I'm glad you feel that way. Have a nice day. That changes it slightly. I go, well, how did it? Huh? They've got no argument. If you don't respond at all, then that means you have not accepted that negative energy to you, which is a good thing. You can respond to a negative, keep it neutral, or try your best to put a positive, like have a great day, be well, okay. And acknowledge, the more simple it is, the better it is, because you can shove a crap load of intent in a couple of words. So, and mean it. Don't go, well, I'm just going to plate this bastard and I'm going to say, have a great day because I should. Well, don't do it then. You must show respect. So to the person who disagrees with you and cusses you out and calls you a limey asshole, you go, thank you very much. Have a wonderful day. And not another thing, but you got to mean it. You have to mean it. Now, if you're a believer in Jesus Christ and that thing, when you love your neighbor as yourself, that period. So if you don't want somebody to call you a name, then don't call them a name. Don't get up in anger. Don't start the hate thing because they did it. Don't be stupid. Don't drag yourself down to that level, because that's what these negative energies are trying to do. They are trying to keep this planet in a negative force, because then we'll never, ever, that's what they think, we'll never reach that right frequency. Now, Mother Earth and the ISBs have an entirely different train of thought about this. But I'm asking gently, kindly, spread good news, spread good prayers. Apologize yourself for being a dummy simply to stop an argument, because Creator knows your heart. If you say, I'm going to stand up for my right, and there's nothing wrong with that. But in certain instances, you're not standing up for anything. You're standing up for a false. So if you take the hit, say, you know what? Like Jack Benny. Jack Benny was one of the greatest straight. He let everybody else crack a joke against him. And he made lots of money and was very famous and was a very funny actor and comedian. A lot of respect for Jack Benny. And he always had a smile. But he would allow people to make the nasty cracks against him. He took the fall for the laugh, rather than him being so important that he had to have the laugh. He allowed whoever it was, his actress opposite him, to get the laugh. Now, I'm an old theater man. I've done over 80 productions of different types and characters and stuff. To a lot of actors, allowing the other person to get the laugh, but it makes you a better person, because when people see that he got the laugh, but you're actually the beginning of the laughter, You're the center of the laughter. And if you play your acting part correctly, then by allowing folks to crack on you, you actually become famous for that. And it's actually a good thing. And you get a positive out of it. I know it sounds weird, but as an actor over the years, I've had people who have from New York City saw me act down here in the South and go, my God, you should be on Broadway. You're acting. Oh my God. Why are you? Because I don't want to go to New York. I don't like those types of people, those snooty actor types. I would rather be in my community and do the pure thing. My point is, let the other person take the glory. Let them have it. It's only glory in their eyes, because the glory of your God, of source and of creator, it knows your intent. If you said, okay, you're right, I was wrong, have a great day, and quit, that is one of the greatest things you could ever do. Talk about a key into heaven. And I'm not talking about taking crap and being beaten up. No, that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. And if any, with a little bit of discernment, you will start seeing where you can, oh, this is one of them times I should not win. This is one of them times I should not fight against. Standing up to this, whoever he is on the other side of the world, that's, being a shill or a troll, let him win. Let him win. Let him win. It does you no good. It kills the crap out of them. Their chances go because they won a negative. Do you want to win a negative? I don't. You're not going to change somebody's mind that way. So, Shingakadita, kill them with kindness. And so with that, I say, I love you all. I really do. From my soul heart and from the heart of my soul. I wish you a wonderful day. I wish you a wonderful week, month, year, etc. I wish us all to have a good future. And please pass this around. Share, like, whatever. I never ask anybody to share my videos. Never. I do ask you to share the thought, at least. And if you see somebody reacting in these ways, we can stop this. We have the knowledge. We have the wisdom. We have the strength. A lot of us don't have the commitment and that 100% that it takes because we're human. That's it. So, from David Noel, Hawkeye Two Feathers down here in Southwest Georgia, and it's already muggy and it's only 7:14. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful, keep it together. And I'm out of here, 3,